Okay, so this whole idea started on an IGN video. Man, that thing was swarmed with dislikes. I was like, what the heck is going on? So I started reading into the comments and a bunch of people were angry. People were complaining about the original Last of Us 2 IGN review because they gave it a 10 out of 10. So I started getting in a little bit of a debate with some people in the comments being like, maybe the critics aren't as bad as you're making them out to be. But it sort of culminated in this one response that got me thinking. And it said, you trust critics? LOL, user reviews don't matter? LOL, most critics have only played 2 hours of the game. User reviews are the fans, you know that, right? Just to remind you, IGN has given Black Ops 3 9.3 rating. My point is, if you trust critics more than the audience, you are dumb. With that, I went on Metacritic and I decided to read some of the user reviews since they were so much more trustworthy than IGN's reviews.
Good game, I love Naughty Dog. Good game, I love Naughty Dog. Good game.
Subverted Jewish power fantasy created for stupid leftist goyim. Holocaust never happened out of 10. This game had a lot of mediocre parts, but not a lot of really parts, and it also has a lot of bad parts, and the story is really dragged out. This game is trying to force me to rat shit though, and I'm okay with eating dog. That must be saying something.
I don't understand the hate this game is getting. Cheater, 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 cheater.
What a horrible story. Give my money back. I hate you, Neil. Why am I playing Abby, The Last of Us 2? I'm waiting 7 years this game. I love Ellie and Joel, but I'm playing Abby. I hate you, Neil. Please leave your job. You don't deserve it. When looking at user reviews, I noticed some trends that started to form. You know, certain people kind of flocked to similar ideas and why they were mad at this game, and also flocked to certain ways that they wrote their reviews. So I clumped these different types of reviews into different sections, and I'd like to show you exactly why the user scores are more important than the critic scores. Graphics, phenomenal. Bex Gen-like. Gameplay, intense. 0 out of 10. Gameplay was amazing. Graphics are amazing. 0 out of 10. First time I expected this game, but it disappointed me. Graphic is good also. 0 out of 10. This is a revenge story. Without the revenge, comeback, action, or satisfaction I was hoping for my favorite character to get. Graphics are 10 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
Graphics / visuals / sounds is 10 out of 10. Gameplay and controls, 7 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
Thank you for that wonderful review, Ludi Senpai 13. Wow, you guys are awesome. Holly S, dude. Okay, dude, graphics and mechanics are good, no doubt. 0 out of 10. The graphics are amazing. The gameplay, also really good. 0 out of 10. To be fair, technically and for graphics, it is a 8 out of 10.
0 out of 10.
Great graphics. 0 out of 10. The game has good graphics and good animations. Technical part is good. I feel sorry for those who are working for these, but one fuckcuck can destroy the whole game because of a big ego! 0 out of 10. The only reason I don't give it a 0, it's because I respect the developers that worked hard for the game.
0 out of 10.
This review has been brought to you by Don't Buy Last of Us. Besides users having a positive thing to say about the game and giving the game a 0, other people had some very interesting critiques to give about the game. Game? Ideology. This game is garbage, and I'm very upset. I am a big fan of The Last of Us. Pretend can't be real. If game try to show the best of itself, it can be great masterpiece. But if game pretend itself as an art house movie, it cannot be not only art house movie, but also great game. Awful game ever. Story? Garbage. Shame of you. Don't be a liar. A game make people angry and disgusting. What the XXX are you doing? Are you lose your mind? Give you 0 points. Don't thank me. It's the hero we didn't know we needed, but it's the hero we deserve. It's the most pathetic plot / writing I've ever seen. Not when I didn't think Naughty Dog would do something like that. Shame on... Shame on what? Sir? Are you there? This game has the worst pilot ever. I'm just imagining a ship being flown by a copy of The Last of Us Part 2, and like the co-pilot's like, dude, what are you doing? We're going down! Mayday, mayday! And the game copy is just sitting there like staring at him. If I walked into an airplane and there was just a fucking copy of The Last of Us Part 2 sitting in the pilot's chair, I'd get off that plane immediately. Worst story ever. The good thing, just a visual. Nope. You guys end this franchise. I loved Last of Us 1. The duo of Joel and the girl and the story was awesome. Last of Us 2 has good graphism, but I didn't like the direction took the story. I like how he can't even name Ellie, it's just the girl. Like, he doesn't even care about her. It is unacceptable as a sequel of The Last of Us. Disappointed for the story. Lots of disgusting screens. Look at all these disgusting screens, man. Too many of them. Just get them out of here. The game story is like garbage. Even if the game screen is excellent, what is with these people calling it game screens?
Joel, Dead End Fought History, the game.
They take it to other way. The story was really bad and boring. The graphics was okay, 0 out of 10. As a wise man once said, if you can't think of an actual critique for a game, just compare it to something that other people don't like. The video game equivalent of The Last Jedi.
It's like a Star Wars The Last Jedi. Why did Naughty Dog make the game like that?
Star Wars Last of Jedi's game version, total shit.
Why can't I add review? This game deserves 0 out of 10. Neil Druckmann is Ryan Johnson, 2.0.
9.9 out of 10. Fine art. Lost 0.1 point because it's a little bit lack of craftsmanship. Then All My Time masterpiece, The Last Jedi, just a little bit.
0 out of 10.
Man, I know I can always count on reviews from people named Metacritic. Offensively bad story. What was that thing? Reminded me of The Last Jedi. Thank you for voicing your opinion, Runway Pimp.
When I'm watching the last episode of Game of Thrones, I was having a mental breakdown. Like, the hell break loose. I was sad and angry at the same time.
I'm still on a review for The Last of Us Part 2. By the way, This isn't a Game of Thrones review. This is still the Last of Us Part 2. When I finished it, I felt like I finished Game of Thrones last season. This game is an insult. Naughty Dog intentionally misled the public in its advertising and has delivered the Game of Thrones Season 8 of video game sequels. Storytelling in this one reminds me of the 8th season of Game of Thrones. I think it's not worth 79.99 CAD before tax. I like how this one implies that if he didn't have to pay tax, maybe it would have been worth it, but the tax, that's what really made it not worth it. The fucking tax, man. Star Wars 8, Game of Thrones Season 8, and now The Last of Us 2. How many fucks like this have we been? No, wait, what is it trying to say? Okay, totally breaking character here. Some of these curse words that get censored, I don't know what they're trying to say. Shits? Fuck? No, it's 4 letters. How many crap like this? I don't know. Neil not only spat on Joel, he defecated. It begins as Terminator Dark Fate, continues as Game of Thrones Season 8, and ends as Star Wars The Last Jedi. I don't know when Terminator Dark Fate kind of came into this picture. I didn't know people had a problem with Terminator Dark Fate. Were people expecting it to be a good movie? So, I got into a conversation with someone in the YouTube comment sections of an IGN video because, they were mad about the game. And people were arguing that the integrity of, game journalism, specifically IGN in this case, was not good because they reviewed games positively that they didn't like. So, I responded, most people who watched the gameplay and story were trying to find flaws in it because they had been doing that ever since they found out 2 girls kissed in the E3 trailer. A lot of people who want to go in and actually enjoy the game have avoided the spoilers and are planning on going in blind. Give it a few weeks and then we'll see what the more casual gamers who aren't hell-bent on destroying the game's reputation think of the game. So this was in response to people saying, haha, look at the Metacritic score, the user scores, they're so terrible. And I was like, yeah, but a lot of people didn't like the game initially because they saw gay people. That's a big reason I think a lot of people don't like this game. And so this guy responded, if you think that 2 girls kissing is the problem for most players, then the leaks and the massive plot holes in the story. Have you seen most of the game and how some game characters act? So, yeah, this guy's basically arguing, no, people don't care that 2 girls are kissing. When he said that, I was sort of like, oh, what if I'm actually wrong? Maybe the game actually is bad. I haven't played it, I haven't seen much on it. I was just sort of defending something because of, I think, artistic creation, I think, is important to me, and artistic integrity. So I went on the Metacritic scores and looked at the user reviews, and
this is a political statement, not a video game.
Well, this game is just political stuff to please some social justice warriors. Absolute trash.
Boring and too PC. Going to stick mine on a certain auction site right now.
This is a middle finger to all the fans. The creators don't care about us. This simply pushes their woke narrative.
Clear political agenda affected the characters and story we know and love.
This game is more of a political statement than a game. It's like a bad movie at this point. Forced, out of place characters to push a political agenda. The people reviewing are not homophobic or anti-transgender. Try to keep you social views out of a beloved game next time. It seems that if you can't improve content, then you hit your audience with unexpected death and homosexuality just to spice things up. Yeah, dude, gay people are just a spice, they're not real. Good gameplay, bad story. Worst ending I've seen. Focuses on SJW stuff more than actual players.
The story was so anticlimactic for an apocalyptic world. Naughty Dog putting SJW agenda. The storytelling is really bad. So sick of their political awareness and woke culture, they just ruin a legendary game for inserting political agenda. Couldn't the developer just focus on game quality instead of political issues? This is a really disappointing game.
Played it? Switching to Xbox. The agenda ruined the game. The attacks by Sony ruined the console. Are the Naughty Dog writers so simple that they can't come up with a new and interesting ideas on their own? Big disappointment. Part 1 was a great game. Stupid plot, clearly more focused on their own agenda instead of making a great game for gamers.
I would try to resell this leftist propaganda. Why is it so hard for a company nowadays to just give a good story?
Terrible story, weak characters, horrible end, disgusting political correctness.
Such a huge disappointment after years of waiting. Don't buy this game if you care about the characters or anything the previous game set up. This game is not bad because of SJWs.
It's not bad because of SJWs? I'm so confused. What do I believe?
All kinds of unreasonable and deliberately politically correct concepts that insult players in previous games.
This game sucks balls. Just SJW Revenge's bad story that is a disrespect to the original game.
Transgender, LGBT, pro-choice propaganda. Sony ruined his reputation. I wanted to buy a PS5, but after that I won't give them a penny. The PlayStation is over for me.
What does pro-choice have to do with this? Is there an abortion in the game? And you realize Sony isn't an individual person. You can't gender him as his.
Naughty Dog and Neil are feeding shit for gamers and forcing them to appreciate. This is not about liberty and equal. It's what caused disagreement and discrimination, and we should not tolerate this.
Including people of different orientations in your game is actually discrimination, fun fact.
False advertising, LGBT political correct, XXXXXX force you to play a character you don't like. I feel sick about this game. Don't buy it.
SJW piece of shit.
Disgusting political agenda. Don't buy it. They spit on you arrogant fucks and feminazis. I want to read this one. This one's so... Disgusting political agenda. Don't buy it. They spit on you arrogant...
Once again, what is this fucking word? Arrogant fuck, maybe?
Disgusting political agenda. Don't buy it. They spit on you arrogant fucks. And feminazis that hates...
What is this grammar?
Disgusting political agenda. Don't buy it. They spit on you arrogant shit. Fuck.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that word is.
Disgusting political agenda. Don't buy it. They spit on you arrogant fuck. And feminazis that hates man. Disgusting political agenda. Don't buy it. They spit on you arrogant fuck. And feminazis that hates man. SJW walking sim.
SJW trash with no adequate logic. Graphics is cool, but content is 100% propaganda.
Trash story. SJW stuff. Just sad, man. Horrible storytelling and bad character development. It is written to push LGBT agenda instead of writing a good story. Ridiculous! I am not a fan of political influencing within an existing franchise.
OMG! You clearly put a lot of female strong characters in the issue of LGBT plus in front of the whole and great story that was made in the first game. This is bullshit!
Terrible story. Pure propaganda with no sense. I thought it would be good game, but feminists made it bad. I hope that in the next part they will think and make it without agitation.
I don't know what he's trying to say. Without agitate. What? I can't even guess what word he was trying to put there. Maybe he just doesn't want to be agitated? I mean, apparently 20 users found this helpful, so I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I also came across some reviews that were not in the English language, so I figured I'd translate those for you. So this is the first one I came across, which roughly translates to
probably the clearest example of how talent is destroyed about the desire to impose and...
This is the worst Russian accent.
The game is super, the political agenda sucks. The developers simply humiliated the fans. I especially liked the way the main screenwriter said in plain text that he didn't like the plot tied to revenge as well as a lot of LGBT relationships. Don't buy the game, which I hope many did. I'm silent at all. Neil Cuckoldman just spat in the player's face. I've been waiting for this game for 7 years. Millet crap a series with its stupid movement and propaganda. I'm generally silent about the plot. And yes, do you seriously think that the rating of 95 is not bought and paid? Specifically, nothing new, at least in terms of mechanics, but the game was wrecked most of all by the agendas and propaganda. A good game, but because of propaganda, this game must be without politics.
Wait, this isn't Russian.
This track from PS sucks. Politically correct incorrect, stupidly violent, bad end for Joel, stay with the 1PD, I did not get my briefcase, Sony.
Best gameplay, worst story, thanks for pushing your dumb agenda down everyone's throat.
The graphics and gameplay are very good, but the story is just SJW propaganda.
What is this garbage? There was no game in there, just a number of different agendas they tried their best to show.
The game is a travesty, unworthy of the sequel label, a politically charged trash fire that subverts all expectations of fans of the original by deconstructing and humiliating beloved characters.
But for the story, oh boy, one of the worst story in gaming history. Too much milking of LGBT and SJW community, so sad.
Good graphics, 0 out of 10, but bad history and outdated gameplay. The game becomes too much political, and if you don't agree with the creator's political ideologies, play this game is almost a torture.
Gay agenda, gay agenda, gay agenda, gay agenda, gay agenda, gay agenda, gay...
Okay, it's time to move on from the SJW people because that shit's getting really obnoxious. Let's just look at some new opinions.
Nothing new. The storyline is very old, not interesting, and bored. This isn't Naughty Dog game.
I mean, it literally is a Naughty Dog game. It says right there on the box. The following review has been brought to you by Dr. Dank. Absolute insult to the first game and its characters. This game, if you can call it that, should not exist. Once again, no, this is a game. It's literally a video game. Like, it's a PlayStation 4 video game. Gave it a 4 for the gameplay and visuals. 1 out of 10.
They lost it. Naughty Dog, if this is the new direction you're heading towards, go make some movies or something and stay away from video games.
Honestly, like, if Naughty Dog started making movies, I'd honestly watch them. That sounds really good. Imagine if you watched Gordon Freeman died in the new Half-Life series. Imagine if you watched the Master Chief died in a new Halo series. What the hell is going on this company? I still can't believe what I saw. I've had never write reviews on this site before, but right now I feel so much anger. So I've come here to give this glorious 0 score. If Gordon Freeman died in Half-Life or Master Chief died in Halo, I'd be completely intrigued and probably buy the game pretty quickly. That sounds like a really unique spin on an old series. Like why wouldn't you want to consider giving that a go? That sounds so interesting. This game is very bad. The worst story in game history. I hate it. Naughty Dog just come and yelled at us, "This game is the best thing ever!" But it isn't. When did they yell that at you? I'm so sorry that Naughty Dog came to your house and just like picketed outside your house going, "This game is the best thing ever," with signs. I finished the story. Amazing story. This game is a masterpiece. Best story of the generation. Naughty Dog are genius. 2 out of 10. Please, please, please do not buy this game. It's the worst game ever in the history of games. I'm just gonna pretend this game never even came out. Oh, and by the way, can someone fire Neil Uckman? So nobody tell this guy about big rigs over the road racing. He would lose it. This is most possibly the worst sequel in gaming history. This is the reason why you can't trust these review scores from the companies who simply will give a shoddy game a 10 out of 10 in order to keep access for future games. Neil Druckmann should be fired from Naughty Dog, and this game should be deleted from existence. Nobody knows how to spell Neil Druckmann for some reason. One guy thought it was Uckman, like, idiot. It's clearly not. Also, nobody tell this guy about big rigs over the road racing. The story is a mess. I will rate it 0 to punish Naughty Dog for writing the worst scenario of the century. Dude, he says this is the worst writing scenario of the century. Does he not realize The Room came out this century? The worst story ever in any medium. The Room has a better plot than this. Ah, shit. Poor writing and politics don't belong in video games. I like how this guy thinks poor writing doesn't belong in video games. Like that's inevitable. How did 727 people agree that poor writing don't belong in video games? Beginner's error. Never put 2 stories of 2 different characters in 30-hour games in a 1-hour or 2-hour movie, yes, or put a choice or a DLC to separate the story. Yeah, dude, never put 2 stories of 2 different characters in a 30-hour game. We can't have 2 perspectives in a game. Nobody tell this guy about David Cage games. Takes a huge dump on everything that made the first game good. A way overhyped title that in no way has a better plot or depth than the games like Detroit Become Human or Red Dead Redemption 2. See, this guy gets David Cage. He understands. Also, nobody tell him that Detroit Become Human is political. I don't think he'd like that. The game is almost a complete waste of money. The good bits, graphic and music, by now most games should be topping 8 or 9 for music scores. Does this guy really think that every game has to have an 8 or 9 in the music score? What is with these people thinking that bad things in games just
aren't possible, that they shouldn't exist. Disgusting and totally unnecessary. Games shouldn't make you feel miserable, however profound they might claim to be. I like how 100 people agree that games shouldn't make you feel miserable. This is vile, disgusting, truly repellent piece of nihilistic trash that wallows in the worst, most base and deplorable elements that could be conceived by human imagination. Great art inspires. The Last of Us Part 2 does not contribute anything positive to society or humanity. It's the type of product that will leave you a worse person for having experienced it. By the time you're halfway in, you will feel the need to bathe yourself in bleach, to cleanse yourself from the griminess and abhorrent worldview. The person responsible for this game must be a disturbed and sick individual. I feel sorry for all the talented programmers and artists and other employees who had to bring this anti-human garbage to rancid life.
Hey, you do realize it's like a zombie apocalypse? Things are kinda depressing in zombie apocalypses.
The weakest game of this half year. You know, there is such a practice. If you can't do a good work, then shove hard violence, sex, very harsh words, unexpected and or inappropriate plot twists into it, and people will eat it. So now they do half the series. They take a very bad plot, which earlier they would have wandered to hell at the level of synopsis, add the above described ingredients and advertise it everywhere. Well, now this practice has come to video games, and knowing that PS has many cultists who, with the fury of the uterus, will... The fury of the uterus! Somebody needs to make a movie called The Fury of the Uterus. I'm sorry, keep going. We'll praise the handicraft. We'll play it for... I can't. Unfortunately, this game is not a masterpiece. I feel really disappointed to say this. Naughty Dog, I don't want you to make me suffer for flawed characters for 10 hours. Abby is a piece of shit, as Mel said. I like how this guy only wants perfect characters in his stories. Like he doesn't want to see any flawed characters, because that's not what makes stories interesting. That's not what makes characters have depth. Subverting expectations by making the game unenjoyable from the plot point standard, doing a disservice to the entirety of The Last of Us 1 that was written by leagues more competent writers, and doing all of that to pander to people that don't even play video games is exactly how not to make a video game.
Yeah, fun fact, gay people and women don't actually play video games, only straight white men.
I would like to see how far Sony's reach extends when the Game Awards 2020 comes around and The Last of Us 2 magically gets Game of the Year 2020 award because the fans' opinions never matter to them either. The Game Awards, that's hilarious to me that even brings that up as if it's like a very serious thing, but maybe it'll magically get a Game of the Year 2020 award, because hear me out, the game is actually good. No. Bad gameplay, very bad graphics for a AAA game released in 2020. What? This game is very old gameplay mechanics. Seems to play to the first Assassin's Creed. Is not a 2020s game. I honestly don't think this game is canon. Like a wise man by the name of Geralt of Rivia once said, the story is like ordering a pie and finding that it has no filling. The game is only 20 hours long and no one wins in the story. There is no endgame. Everyone loses. Don't believe the credit reviews. They were bought. This game has no multiplayer either. I like how he's mad that the game is only 20 hours. Like 20 hours is a pretty solid length for a story-based game. Like, would you expect a 150-hour game? That's probably the length of the first game. And there's no multiplayer. Like, it's a single-player story game. How are you complaining that there's no multiplayer? I am sorry, but if you beat a woman in Watch Dogs 2 means sexism. I am pretty sure everyone in this game is sexist. And when Ellie says she won't fall in love with a guy because he is Asian, I am pretty sure she is racist. If you say that's a joke, would you use that joke to a black man? This is a disgusting game that spoils the memory of the beautiful first part with its feminist and God damn it, we're back to this shit again. This game is the last straw in showing the divide between critic and consumer. Stupidly high review scores due to SJW content. Take away that content and ask them to review it again. This game is an abomination. It may look great, but the visuals can only please you for so long. All the news articles saying, oh, here they come, native review bombers. Yes, we're here giving the game the score it deserves because the media won't. Or hear me out, maybe the high review scores are because critics liked the game. Ruined franchise by an almost unbelievable bad story. So much stuff to discuss in a post-apocalyptic world, and Naughty Dog chooses to focus on an empty and stupid vengeance, sexuality, and gender. Yeah, no, let's not explore how sexuality and gender would play into a post-apocalyptic story. That would be awful. Nobody wants to think about that. How identity plays into a post-apocalyptic setting. It's sad to see a studio with great potential making a game with such a lacking story that can literally be summed up as white male bad, diversity good. An offensive piece of political propaganda
later that takes a big fat dump on the original. A piece of disgusting violence exploitation with representative diversity just to tick off a checklist. Mean-spirited, not at all fun, actively and purposefully offensive. This is the video game equivalent of a Serbian film or Human Centipede.
This guy also probably thinks Moonlight is a horror film.
This game shows how critics are unreliable. The only thing that this game excels in is gameplay and graphics. 0 out of 10. The story is a disgrace to the original and meaninglessly infused with politics.
What a joke of a game, so you fucked the whole story up just to be progressive? For freaking serious, never buying any Naughty Dog game ever again. I didn't listen to the leaks and played the game, but it was somehow worse than the leaks.
Big fan of the first game. They absolutely ruined the sequel with their agenda pushing. Save yourself $60 and play something else or wait for a discount. I like how this one implies that if the game goes on sale for like $45, then it might be worth playing. Oh boy, this game. Oh boy, this review. This is fucking long.
Risky review, you need to shorten your review lengths.
Imagine a group of pink hat anti-Drumpfers from 2016 got together and made a video game. Well, it actually happened and it's called The Last of Us Part 2. If you want to see a buff man lady called Abby get sodomized from behind by Neil Druckmann, then go ahead and buy this game. But if you want a game with a good story that doesn't spend all its time bending over to virtue signal, a game with good gameplay, a game with good performance, and a game that's immersive, then go buy The Last of Us 1 instead. Do not, I repeat, for the good of all gaming, do not buy this absolute trash. This is what a godless society moves toward This is what a godless society moves toward atheists. Is this progress? Jesus save us, please. Stop ruining good franchises with virtue signal insanity! Thank you! 61 people found this helpful. Last of Us 1 was a fantastic game. Why go down the road you did? Why push an agenda? Here's a thought. Just focus on making a great game and not pander to a select few. Sad this game could have been Game of the Year. Instead, you will be right there with Blizzard in the Warcraft 3 remake. Storyline 2. Graphics 8. Acting 4. SJW 0. Pushing agenda 0. I don't want to give up any spoilers, but it seems like the script was written by a teenager SJW. Only good thing that came out of this SJW trash was the hilarious memes, which is also kind of sad. Absolutely garbage game. And I use the word game loosely. It's just something to push an agenda upon us and our kids, and the game itself is devoid of any good gameplay merits. Stay away from such a shit product for your own sake and your kids. Who's letting their kids play this game? Walking Simulator, SJW trash. Why would you do this to The Last of Us? Get woke, go broke. Get woke, go broke. Game contains a representation of gay and trans characters, which is good in its own right, but it's what a majority of players do not want. This was a letdown. This is absolutely not worth the price. The only good this game has to offer is the scenery, and that's about it. 0 out of 10. The first one wasn't that bad either. When you want to make a game woke, maybe start it on a newer franchise. Don't ruin it on one that is currently doing well. Get woke, go broke. So with that attitude, I wanted to go on his profile and see if he reviewed anything that was political and pretended it wasn't political. So the first thing I came across was he reviewed Pokemon Sword Shield and the Sword and Shield Dual Pack with the exact same review on all three of them. Okay, and then he also reviewed Warcraft. See, this is where things go funny. Totally go see this movie and ignore the people rating zeros. They obviously are trolls and just want to harm the product.
This man has literally no self-awareness.
Oh, and this is how you get a true sense of these people's personalities. Here's his first Purge review. You see one, you see them all. This is one of those Black Lives Matter style movies, and it follows a gangbanger and a mom and kid, and somehow the gangbanger is like the Jackie Chan of guns, yet never filled in if he was ex-military or whatever. He was just a gang lord. Jesus fucking Christ. Previously with his opinion on The Last of Us, I would not have expected this guy to be a piece of shit racist homophobe. But after reading this, I'm starting to think this guy might be a piece of shit racist homophobe. The leaks were right. Too much diversity. It's a movie simulator with a god-awful story. Excuse me. This game has nothing to do with its predecessor. The scenario is horrible, politically oriented, and complete nonsense. Where are the infected? The gameplay is average and the graphics have not improved since episode 1. I don't recommend it as a fan of the first episode. I was deeply disappointed. The graphics have not improved much since the first game. What? The storytelling is really, really bad. So sick of their political awareness and woke culture. They just run a legendary game for inserting political agenda. Couldn't the developer just focus on game quality instead of political issues? Great gameplay, bad story, political statement, feminist agenda, anti-father figure. Good game, but very, very bad sequel. Advice for Naughty Dog, stay away from politics. Focus on gaming. Politics not allowed in gaming at all. Art should never have politics in it. Art is
not a form of statement. Bad story and not recommend at all. Story is so weak with hidden agendas. I do not believe that developers work on such a thing. It does not deserve even to call it game. I don't think they were hidden agendas because everyone picked up on them. Very bad story and shit LGBT. Very bad story and shit LGBT. Oh, wait. Wait, no, it's not even right. Very bad story and shit LGBTQ. It's so hard to read. LGBTQ. Okay, LGBT. Oh my god, he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand. He thinks it's LGBTQ. He doesn't understand the B is for bisexual. He thinks it's for bisexual. Poor gameplay, stupid plot, and motives. Everybody's sick and tired from feminist propaganda and women power. 4 points thanks to beautiful picture and hard work of artists. Otherwise, it deserves a 1 out of 10. P.S. I am a woman. There's no way in fuck. Benny Q Cumber. Your name is literally Benny. There's no fucking way you're a woman. Worst scenario ever. Stop bringing gender type politics into video games. Stop ruining fans' attempt. Attempt to what? You didn't finish your sentence, sir. Are you there, sir? Pushing an agenda is disrespectful to the gaming community. If we let this slide, the gaming community will regret it in the future. This is a game made for the gamers, not the developer's political platform. This person wants games to be so dumbed down and pointless. Like, what's the point of art if you can't express yourself? I'm not surprised this review was written by a guy named Hardcore Gamer. This vote is not for the gay content. It's not like we fans care for sexuality of the characters. Except these people do. LGBT propaganda, LGBT propaganda, LGBT propaganda, LGBT propaganda. It's funny that we're putting so much effort to be political correct and don't care if the whole thing really makes sense or not. First game was okay, but the second game, they included too many SJW propaganda. I won't recommend this game. Rejects me too much. There is no good history, but rather violence everywhere against the character who is built too close to radical feminist ideal. The story of the first game and the relation of Joel and Ellie was the principal reason I loved the game. This game was a big F you to the fans and you quit to put the effort into the story to push gender. A perfect specimen of art being corrupted by identity politics. This game is a tar pit of political pandering with disregard to its predecessor and its fans. The game is monotonous and boring, and I do not recommend it to anyone because it is a waste of money when someone buys this game. It is best to throw it. These people don't know what periods are. It is best to throw it into a trash can and spit the game.
He's also an LGBT propaganda.
And this is mainly the plot. Amazing graphics, 0 out of 10. But terrible history putting on the trash, the history of the previous, and unnecessary LGBT characters basically ruined for the politically correct. I'm not homophobic. Yeah, sure you're not, buddy. Sure you're not. The game says to you, remember, silly kid, women are the strongest beings in the galaxy. The traditional orientation is really bad thing, and you, silly white man, must rate our game like 100 out of 100. Bruh. That's a lot of words for I'm a virgin.
Anita Sargason!
And political propaganda! I hope your next game will not be so bad! An excuse for fetish propaganda. Actor won't stop talking and talking, ruining the experience. Dialogues are so cringy and empty because they are forced. Plot is an insult. There is so much sexual drama as filler. It is ridiculous. Shame. This is not a video game. No, it's literally a video game that it's on the PlayStation 4. I literally only made an account to rate this because Metacritic keeps removing bad ratings. Bro, I was straight up not having a good time. Also, if anything, this game has made me more conservative than ever before. Take that however you want. How did 8 people find that helpful? What the hell is this? Absolutely atrocious. It's honestly insulting. I don't know how the hell it got this bad, but I heard Antita Sarikisian, or whatever her damn name is, the rabid feminist, was involved in some way. Garbage game. Typical revenge plot that is executed horribly. It's also filled with woke nonsense. Do yourself a favor and save your money for Ghost of Tsushima. But what if Ghost of Tsushima has a gay character in it? After reading about Neil Druckerman and his radical leftist views, I decided I couldn't buy this game as I constantly moan about ideologues and how I don't agree with that personal politics should be forced through entertainment platforms. This game will probably go down as a masterpiece, which is great. It's a shame it had to be from pushing personal politics into a game world, though. The guy ruined Uncharted by bringing 5 out without Nathan Drake. Are you mad? Sony stands behind this garbage. They should offer refunds for this offensive and completely disrespectful trash. Great graphics though, 0 out of 10. 9 out of 10 gameplay, 0 out of 10. 0 out of 10 story. Pushing LGBT agenda. Not cool, not brave, and stunning. This game has amazing graphics, 0 out of 10. But what really ruined this game is forced political and SWJ message. They try to brainwash you like Netflix. Character gender and sexual orientation conversation feels forced, and I feel like this game is less about the actual The Last of Us and more about SWJ LGBT feminism promotion. There are games like The Witcher 3 who deliver all those messages in a much friendlier form. 1 out of 10 for bringing personal political views into the game and forcing far leftist SWJ. 0 out of 10. It was a very selfish move, and most of the gaming community feels neglected.
Oh, I'm sorry, those poor white straight men. They feel neglected because not every character is straight. Oh no, there's a gay character. Where?
Something tells me that this account was made just to review The Last of Us 2 because his name is Who Kills Joel?
The gameplay is okay. The environment is okay. The graphics are okay. LG, BT, and SJW agenda from all over the whole game, not okay. Love and other shit, not okay. Outwardly unappealing heroes, not okay.
Wait, he says love and other shit is not... Does this guy expect there to never be like a romance plotline in a game?
The story is so trash. It is so unreasonable and try to force the idea of director. Too much SJW content that made the game is shit game create an uncomfortable atmosphere for players by Abby controlling that was so bad. We need to play Ellie, not the Gorilla Girl. The game is trash. The director fuck up this game.
Jesus Christ. Gorilla Girl? I'm so sorry you're scared of women with muscles.
Worst game after Crash. High-end graphics is one of the opponent of good game, but not converse. If you feel dirty after playing a game, you would not think that it is a good game. Games are not a propaganda tool for disgusting philosophy.
Worst game after Christ. What game is Christ? Is there a game called Christ that I don't know about? I mean, I guess as long as it's not the worst game ever, it's the second worst game ever. So I feel like we should end this section with a review that I think sums up this whole section pretty perfectly. Big budget game. Okay, but this game offends my feelings. White heterosexual man feelings. Audio 10 out of 10, gameplay 10 out of 10, visual 12 out of 10, 0 out of 10. Okay, so for this final section, I decided to clump some of the reviews together that didn't quite fit into one category or had something too unique to put into a different category. So these are the oddballs.
Okay, so it looks like we have another Russian one. A boring game. The plot is not interesting. Do not buy this game. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like this one might have just been a Google Translate issue, but that last word was too funny not to include this.
Naughty Dog,
I think you must see Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. And Neil Druckmann, you are same as Massive Fredericks. Arrogant! Graphics are good. Gameplay is meh. 0 out of 10. Story awful in every way. The Last of Us ended on the first game. This is some twisted fetish porn from writer of this game.
So, this is where we are in video games. Gratuitous sex scenes for no literal reason? Anyone who rates this torture porn garbage a 10 is sick in their head.
Original cast killed or sidelined just so Neil Druckmann can have his self-insert doppelganger character engage in physical relations with a murderer/trans person in a cutscene. Playing this game like my face being thrown full of shit by Neil Druckmann, who's attempting to make me eat all of them and then say, wow, delicious. Neil Druckmann, like I'm imagining him as like the Resident Evil 4 shopkeeper, like opening up his vest, being like, what are you buying? And it's a bunch of like needles and creepy vials and shit. Ah shit, this guy even has a better insult. Neil Cuckman did the worst game.
The game is short, $60 to trash, 9 chapters only. The 5 chap with Abby is less than 10 minutes. The history sucks. Ellie looks like a tranny man with steroids. This is the worst game on PS4.
They let us play for steroid scum and wait for us to be happy. We'll not wait. Go to hell.
I quit the game. I don't care about those bastards from the VOF. I'm not sorry for the bastard surgeon who wanted to kill Ellie. I do not feel empathy no matter how you like this Drummond.
Go to hell, Naughty Dog.
Steroid scum. Jesus Christ. It's a buff woman. Chill. Lack of logic. Demonization of women. Ugly act with sex. A complete disappointment. It is a pity that reviews were banned before release. The actual rating is a 5, but I set it to a 0 to even out corrupt journalistic reviews.
The story's total garbage. They even killed Joel in around 2 hours of my gameplay. Just whacked it using golf stick. The worst part is playing as a hillbilly, steroid transgender. I hate that, Naughty Dog.
Here at Metacritic, we appreciate your opinion, your mum washes. Shill media and accession reviewers will profit from getting game early but are afraid to give bad review. Did it again. The shamelessly praised game that normal fans don't like, which is clearly seen here. Gaming industry nowadays is just one big cesspool of BS and lies. I'm starting to boycott all AAA games entirely. Just a bunch of greedy corporations trying to cater to an SJW mob and dishonest paid reviews.
For being a shit sequel through fuck up plot to biased reviews and Sony censor and hypocrisy is a 2 perfect cherries on top. There's not a single good thing to talk about. Just a total failure. Especially the graphics. Those are just the worst. Seriously, critics? Seriously, critics? Seriously, guys? 10 out of 10? This game is a disappointment I thought will never happen. This game has disadvantages, very big disadvantages. The first half of the game is okay. The second half is a freaking torture. It should not be like this. Yeah, but what are the disadvantages? The point of a review is to elaborate what your opinions are. What are the disadvantages? See all those 10 reviews? They didn't even play the game. This game is by far the biggest insult to gamers ever made, and intentionally so. Please read if you did not buy the game yet! You should not buy this game if you want a good or a decent sequel to the first part. I don't even know how the critics gave this game a 95 out of 100 rating, because it's at most a 5. Out of 100 or out of 10. The only good thing about this game are the visuals and level design. 0 out of 10. Please don't make the same mistake I made wasting 60 euros for an utterly garbage game. I wasted so many hours for pure disappointment. It's not a sequel. The game itself is a message that pregnant women can do anything. That's not why I bought the game. Game journalism is totally dead spear. All the rates are just deception. Graphics in Last of Us 2 are fine. 0 out of 10. Gameplay same to first part, but plot and characters are terrible. Naughty Dog loosed trust of most gamers. Do not waste your money on this. Horrible disappointment. Also, all these banning peoples for bad reviews and memes is very telling. Sony will never again receive money from me. Maybe they're banning people for bad reviews because some of them are just bad. Like some of them aren't even leaving feedback. There's just gibberish. I like how 2 people found this helpful. When the only thing you have going for your game is how pretty it looks. 0 out of 10. You've messed up very badly somewhere in development. Also, there is absolutely no way you can get 50, 100 out of 100s without bribes or blackmail being involved somewhere. Yeah, so fun fact, Naughty Dog actually had IGN's nudes. Just curious, how much did Naughty Dog pay to get 10 out of 10? This game is a complete failure. Nothing makes sense. Abby definitely deserved to be the most hated main character in gaming history. Naughty Dog literally ruined The Last of Us. The positive user reviews, just like a bot review if you really look at it, they never mentioned about storyline, and they even do not know what is it. They can just review the similar words like stunning graphic, good storyline, enjoyed the games, blah, blah, blah. What a shame of you, Naughty Dog. And same go you, Neil Druckmann. You are the extremely narcissistic and extremely hypocrisy person. Players who really understand this game will understand what I'm saying. I don't think anyone understands what you're saying. I vote against this game with my opinion and my wallet. Games. A place where a person rests. Games. A place where the whole family gathers. The opinion indicated by a concerned group of developers remains in-game. You immortalized what you can show my children in the game. I perpetuated my opinion of you here. Give me back my money spent for this censorship. The games are played by the majority and not the minority. Catch the opinion of the majority. More censorship-ers. Yeah, no, everyone knows that The Last of Us 2 is a family game meant to be played by the kids. Every M game is meant to be played by the family. Influencers and YouTubers lured me into buying this generic third-person shooter with shock value cutscenes. Druckmann destroyed the story with that nonsense shit. If you want to be inclusive, no problems with that. But what's this politically charged crap? If you want a good homosexuality inclusion, look at games like Dragon Age Origins. This game feels like an unnecessary attention cookie to jump on the SJW bandwagon. So here's my 2 cents and my refund. You can't pay the audience like you paid reviews. It was very disappointing. That's what happens when you add policy and sexual activity to a game that is part 1 was very great because it hadn't any of these things. It was just for playing in the very good and emotional story. This is what happens when you make a group of people happy by destroying the story and the whole franchise. You made a little kid lesbian and a killer machine. Just please, Naughty Dog, make good games again with a good story that doesn't have any sexual things or policy or feminism, because you have just ruined a great franchise by adding into these useless things to the story. You made a little kid lesbian and a killer machine. You made a little kid lesbian. This person acts like people make someone gay to begin with. They're like a group of people walk up to a kid on the street and go, you are gay. And then the person becomes gay. 39 people found this helpful. I literally don't have to say why this game got the score I gave it. It is a review. That is why you don't have to say why you gave it the score you gave it, because that is the point of reviews! I don't even want to elaborate on my heartbreak for this series. What's done is done, I guess. But
It's a review. You are supposed to elaborate. That is the point of reviews. This game is an insult to life itself.
They destroy everything I love. Why? Just why are you doing this? If I buy Last of Us, I want to play Last of Us, not a Netflix shit. Dog shit game. The story feels like an edgy student film project. And too much of SJW bullshit. A dumpster fire with a burning rotten dog carcass inside. The developers want to present to you a bouquet of roses. Human misery simulator. There's nothing redeeming about this game. The only good thing it does is exposing the blatant corruption of paid reviewers. Stick to the first game and pretend it is the last one. Part 2 will ruin even the first if you play it.
Gameplay 7, graphics 9, story 0, overall 0. 0 out of 10. You literally can't shoot the walls because they have religious symbols on them. It disables your trigger squeeze. This game is absolute trash. Why is this the big deal in the game? Like, you can't shoot religious symbols on the walls. Is that how you determine if a game is good or not? You know this review is unbiased because his username is The Last of Us 2 was trash. Firstly, you able to destroy all the cross and Christianity related stuff in this game, but if you want to do so to Jewish stuff, there is no way you can do that. Ellis said, I don't like you because you are Asian. Guess what happened if you replace Asian to other race? Wait, the last guy said we couldn't shoot religious stuff, but this guy says you can. Which one is it? I don't know who to believe! Well, I started to play the game and I started to enjoy it. The character development was fantastic and the plot was very intriguing. However, The Last of Us 2 was god-awful as the lack of Ben Banks was disgusting and it made the game unplayable! This game has to be the most depressing game I've ever played. 8 out of 10 gameplay, 0 out of 10. It's a ma'am. I just feel bad for all the devs that worked on this master shit. Registered for rating this game. 1 point for graphic team. You have to buy PS3 and 4 for Play The Last of Us, but you don't need to buy PS5 anymore. Goodbye, Naughty Dog. Goodbye, Druckmann. Goodbye, Sony. The fact that Joel goes in this way gives me no choice rather not to buy PS5 anymore. Yes, I blame Sony accepting to publish such story. This game has the worst ending and good at destroying characters. Story is dumb and makes no sense. This is a single-player game.
You've gone too far this time! I'll never forgive you, Naughty Dog, and F you, Druckmann! Neil Druckmann out! Neil Druckmann out! Neil Druckmann out! Fuck, do not buy this game. Horrible, 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 horrible! 10 out of negative 10, masterpiece of shit. And 1 add-thous words to post this. I am just gonna tell you, this isn't The Last of Us anymore. This is a fake game. No, once again, this is a real game. It's actually on the PS4. Best game ever. I never play a game that had so much groundbreaking mechanics as press square for every quick time event or recycled stealth mechanics from 2013. There's no limits to the ingenuity of Naughty Dog's game devs that got fired, then replaced, then fired, then replaces throughout the development of this game. Marvel at abrupt pacing as you switch uncontrollable between the Eli and the Hulk. Smash. Revel at the joys of killing dogs and being forced to kill one in a cutscene. But above all, watch in awe as the long-time question is answered. Revenge is bad! So stunning and brave. This isn't a video game. This is a message. Tyler 1. Yeah, you realize art tends to try to send messages, right? Right? Boring, dejectedly, uninteresting. The message of the game is absolutely disgusting. 0 out of 10. Yo, okay, so this is like the 4th or 5th time I've probably read this message while going through the editing process, and I just now realized the guy's name is White World. Yuck. The reason today is persona non grata. Only 2 years ago, Steven Pinker published his best-selling book, Enlightenment Today. Truly today. This is no longer a struggle for some ideals, albeit deeply false. This is not a fight against any injustice there. This is a spiritual disease. It is not arguments and rational arguments that come into play, but rather, it seems to me, I see it. It seems to me, my feelings are offended, my feelings are hurt, and I am ready, in the name of these sensations, to smash down all ideas of rationality and decency. After all, I'm right. Well, you realize, it seems to me, I see it, it seems to me, are opinions, and arguments are opinions. I don't like being treated like a person to manipulate. You did focused on that, and in the result, the game has many bad technical solutions. I like how this person says they don't want to be a person to manipulate,
Why play video games then?
Honestly, the story feels like you just watched some revenge show on Netflix and wrote then bought the story from some freshman at film school. So besides how good the graphics are, which is this game OE reading quality, like damn good by the way, the rest of the game is boring and a huge disappointment. Killing a character they built in the first game around and forcing you to do things like kill dogs along with the story they stole from a 4-year-old? This game is boring. The writing is terrible and lazy. This is the video game equivalent of a shark. I don't mind all the LGBT themes. The first game had a DLC which included those themes but was not terrible like this sequel. As far as I'm concerned, part 2 is not canon.
Once again, it's literally canon. It was made by Naughty Dog and published by Sony. This is the canon.
Like it or get over it.
Oh, we're back to Russian. Okay, lovely, lovely.
What shit? Not a game. Well, just 0 out of 10. The plot is just super feces. Do not look at the reviews of critics. These are downs.
This could be a translation error, but I think he's trying to imply that all the reviewers have Down syndrome. I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's just a Google Translate thing, but like, if that is what he's doing, yikes.
The disappointment of 2020. Return my money. Sonia treats us like a cattle. Blocks comments, reviews, supposedly eat poop, and say how tasty it was to you. I don't understand why everyone is silent. It should be a world scandal so that Sonia remembers how to do it for life.
Yeah, dude, honestly, a bad video game came out, or a video game that some people dislike, others like. Now that's a world scandal.
I will only say that if they are not Sony's darling, they would not have allowed him to do any of this with the story, since the other games do not allow them to have a character that refers to a tribal man or have a minimum of freedoms for scenes of nudity with context. Devil May Cry 5. But The Last of Us 2 if they let the author put in to fuck a trans.
Dude, this guy's so upset that somebody had sex with a transgender person. Like you know that's the real reason he wrote this review. He's just very upset that someone had sex with a trans person.
Red Dead Redemption 2. All trash. Is not the most overrated game audio in mass I have ever played in my life, but Last of Us 1 was also bad. Red Dead Redemption 2 above all.
So even if like some of this is Google translated poorly, this guy's whole argument is that Red Dead Redemption 2 is the best game ever made, but this is a Last of Us 2 review, so this is irrelevant.
Whoever likes The Last of Us 1 will hate this piece of shit. The character has no spirituality.
What do you mean he has no spirituality? What does that even mean? Like he doesn't believe in ghosts? He doesn't believe in God? What? The next review comes at us from 135246, which is his school ID number.
Horrible game who betrays spirit of ancestors for simple story like vengeance is bad.
Spirit of ancestors? What the fuck is this guy talking about? This isn't some ancient spiritual tribal ritualistic game. It's a fucking video game. Chill.
The once incredible story has slipped into hopeless darkness to please modern trends. All this is too sad. You will not pass! Not on my shift.
Is he serious? No, games are gonna pass you. You're not the Jesus of video games. You don't tell everyone what games do and do not get made. I'd like to point out for this comment, the user review is by Neil Druckmann XX. The most senseless and useless scenario ever existed. Dumb and boneless characters. Only Dina is good character. Revenge is bad out of 100. Okay, I like how this character implies that these characters don't have bones. Like they're just a bunch of like sacks of meat flopping around. Like they're fucking Flat Stanley or some shit.
My wife's boyfriend let me watch while he played. Boy, was I delighted.
The thrilling, fast-paced action combined with intrinsic deep storytelling paved way for the flurry of emotions I experienced during this expanse of the magnificent campaign. Empowering female autonomy in a male authorian world was a bold choice and a fresh, thoughtful, creative, and unique deconstruction of toxic ideologies, seared greatly into consumers' minds by the cable of white cis male cooperative figures. What a daring, special game! You know, this guy thought he was being smart, so smart and like hot shit. Like he was so proud of this review. He thought he was being so clever with this, but in all reality, like if you ignore the very first sentence, everything about this review is actually kind of genuine and true. The guy has no self-awareness that what he said was actually genuinely a real good review of the game if it wasn't being sarcastic. Okay, so I decided I want to end this off by using a review that kind of encapsulates everything that everyone has said so far. Kind of put it into one simple review, and I thought this one just perfectly summarized everything perfectly. 100% shit from Devil Anus. Not joking. Don't ever try this. No, wait, fuck. That's the wrong one. Sorry. I don't know how that got in there. That was not the one I was talking about. This is the one I was actually talking about. Notes. 1. If you believe Western print/web game critics in 2020, you are a fool. Some Eastern and YouTube critics are still good though. 2. I have only played 5 to 6 hours, got disgusted, sought out spoilers. It only gets worse. Copy already sold on Amazon. Gameplay, average in last game. Above average here. 7. Graphics, 8.5. Gorgeous. Would be a 10 on PC. Story, -10. Remember The Last Jedi? Postmodern deconstruction. Sophomoric dreams of storytelling revolution. Unsettled progressive politics. Yet still there is cool stuff and a good editor. A good continuity department could have made it great. Remember that? This ain't that. A good editor isn't fixing this. It's garbage. You have to be religious to think this is a good story. You know the religion I'm talking about. The one with no God, but all the inquisitions. Damn it, this guy's out circle jerking me. This guy mentions bad critics, how he didn't even beat the game, how he sold the game, how he gave the score a -10, which isn't a thing. He brought up The Last Jedi. He brings up politics. He even frickin' brings up atheists. How the hell am I supposed to beat this guy? He's got it all. As I started with the YouTube comment, I want to end with the YouTube comments. So recently, IGN released a video just talking about how The Last of Us Part 2 sold better than any PS4 exclusive game. And so, people obviously were very mad in the comments because they pretend that this isn't real and they just like to ignore it and believe it's fake. So I kind of got in there and responded a little bit because, it's always best to respond to YouTube trolls. LOL, look at IGN trying to sell us this game. So I responded, they don't need to. The game already sold great, LOL, because the game sold really great. IGN doesn't need to sell it. They're just reporting on the news. So somebody responded, 4 million in the first 3 days and IGN needs to sell it for them. Yeah, sure, pal. This guy, with all his great credibility and wisdom, put in a very wise words. He said, yeah, they sold great at first and they will end up broken sale in the end. This 4 million, including innocent people who don't know how the plot play out. The credibility is out and no one bothered to buy it. There's even petition to remake the game with over 40,000 signed. LMFAO! So how do you respond to something that well articulated and factual? You have to really think about how you want to respond. So in the end, I chose the only logical answer. Give up.